Good morning to the monthly Catalyst. What a great place to be. What an opportunity for us to get together on a once a month. Hopefully, and during the month times, we can get together with each other. This is a gathering of Stanislaus County sector leaders and influencers. What does that mean? Just what we're doing. Many of us have been coming for a long, long time. And I know for me personally, I've met so many folks that have become professional friends and friends in my life and have changed my life in many ways. The purpose of Catalyst, again, is to place the community, the conversations and connections, and the hope is to go from today and continue to meet with people as much as you can. That has helped me out. This place is a safe place that we can come and have a discussion and an opportunity to meet each other. I'm Doug Ridenour. If you don't know me, I was a police officer here in Modesto for 41 years. And I spent 5 years on the city council, and now I have a small business. And I got to tell you that each opportunity, I've learned things from Catalyst to help me in each one of those types of careers. And so I'm hoping today will be an opportunity for you to get out and talk to other folks that have similar, no matter where they're working. I'm retired. I still have that business, but I'm retired. And I still learn a lot from Catalyst. It's a great organization, a place to be, and I hope each of you understand that and appreciate that. We're a diverse group of perspectives, and we work together and benefit the community. That's one of the major important influences that I've had on this Catalyst group. Our hope is that you will connect with others and share your passion and love for whatever you're in, whatever job you're in, just to get to know other people is an interesting thing, and for everyone's benefits. So we'd like to thank our sponsors, Access Capital, Fletcher, Dentistry, Oak Valley Community Bank, Rolling F Credit Union, and Stanislaus Equity Partners. Right on, there you go. And it's really good when you have sponsors that come and attend a program so they can hear their names come out. So what I'd like for you to do now, I'd like to get on your phone, get on and get onto your network, try to get on Twitter or one of your programs that you have and let people know that you're here today, and then also give other folks the opportunity to connect with City Ministry Network as well. So I would like to kick off today and have as you know, each month we have some kind of a table topics or game or whatever, and today's is going to be kind of interesting because it deals with candy. As you can tell, I like candy. And so on your tables, there's different types of candies. And what we would like you to do is grab one of those candies, your favorite one, and then we want you to stand up and go to someone within the facility, the room, and find the same candy. And sit down and just have a conversation with them. The hope is that you try to connect with somebody you've never met. That's the nice thing about Catalyst, is to come here and meet people you've never met before. Now, it's going to take a little effort on your part. Don't worry about it. Remember, this is a safe place. When you walk out of here today, nobody's going to know that you got up and did some silly game. All right? So let's do that. Grab one of your favorite candies, stand up, go to the other tables, and just have a 5-minute conversation. And then I'm going to reconvene and get you guys back to your seats. That means you're going to have to stand up and go meet someone else. Thank you very much. Wow. That kind of reminds me when I was a city councilman. Not very many people listened to me then either. I hope that each of you had an opportunity to meet somebody else, and if you didn't capture, the purpose is to ask them about their New Year's resolution, so we're going to try to revisit that a little bit later. But I'd like to introduce our speaker, and I've known our speaker for probably close to 50 years. I know some of you are surprised that I'm over 50 years old, but he has been an amazing, amazing person and a friend. I met him here at this church. I was still a member of this church. I met him as a youth pastor, and I was a single dad at the time trying to raise a young boy that I had no clue how to raise him. And with his help and reading books and that kind of stuff, they got me through that process, which was good because I really didn't know what to do. I was a police officer at the time, and I know I was really limited in what I could do to him and still be a cop. It was a crazy time for me. Honestly, it was a crazy time for me. My wife, who is here, my wife Linda, please give her a little applause. And when I woke her up at 5:30 this morning, she says, "For what?" I said, "You got to go with me because we've got a lot of stuff we got to do today." One of the things that Marvin helped me with was to try to realize, bring me back to reality. Even though I thought I was a cop and I knew a lot of stuff, I didn't know much about raising a young boy. And even back then, before Catalyst, he had the same kind of thinking about how I could understand this young man and eventually be a better dad. And he told me one thing that I'll never forget. And I'm telling you, I was really going through some issues. And he says, he was this crazy time. And he says, "Listen to me. That young man is going to grow up and he's going to be a great, great man. He's just going through a phase of his life that you just got to go through it with him." And I thought to myself, this Marvin, doesn't know what I'm going through. I wish he would live with him and then maybe he'd have a different philosophy. Well, he was actually right. That man today is almost 52 years old. He's a homicide detective in Modesto. He has 2 children, both in college, and he's a wonderful guy, and I love him to death. Marvin also got me started in a program called New Start, which is helping young teenagers, young people, and parents. I did that for 12 years through Marvin. It was a great opportunity, and Marvin, I have to tell you, last night I received a phone call from one of those kids. He's in his 50s as well, and his grandpa passed away, and he is now an instructor pilot in Texas, doing very well. Everybody, you know Marvin, I know Marvin. Please welcome Marvin Jacobo.
Hey, Doug, you did good. Thank you. You don't know this, and he didn't tell you, but I'm doing Doug's funeral. So when that day comes, so I get the last word. So he can say whatever. I told him this morning, say whatever you want to say, because I get the last word. So, yeah, thanks, Doug. Yeah, and your boy he's done good. You guys done good. Linda, and you're a saint, by the way, like I've said often to you. Listen, the time I wanted to come here together with you just to reflect, not just on my sabbatical and my time away, but what does that mean to us as a community? I want you to know that I'm going to come away with I've come away with a lot more questions in my journey of life rather than just answers. With candor, I really don't have a lot of patience for people who can give me a 3-point outline really quick and think that that's going to solve a problem or direct me somewhere. Give me your questions. Let me think about your questions. Give me space to think. And so the 2 months I had away, and by the way, with so much gratitude, with the Evan Porges Foundation, Stanislaus Community Foundation, there were 4 of us in the community who had this privilege to be a part of this pilot program, and I got to be a part. 35 years, I'd never had a time away like this. So it was just amazing. It was just amazing. And by the way, yes, I got incredible rest, but for those of you who have always thought that maybe taking a sabbatical was a waste of time, and why do you need a waste of time? I mean, because you can't, what do you mean rest? What is get to work, that kind of thing. And I do come from that kind of culture. I want you to know, I could tell you, I'll just tell you, I wasn't going to tell you. I read 8 books. I went to 3 leadership conferences. I had a lot of serendipity. We laughed a lot. My wife said there was space in my brain to laugh and to be quiet. I had a lot of quiet and solitude because I just needed, when you're a leader like you all are, just like mine, my brain is full of noise and a lot of voices and a lot of thoughts. And any of us who are public figures, right? We all have somebody who's going to tell us what they think we should do. And so to be able to withdraw from that was great. Nobody got a hold of me because my wife filtered all my phone calls. And her first question always was, who died? Because she made it clear that the only people that were going to talk to me were that people who died. So, and by the way, the staff and the board or City Mission Network, they're incredible. They missed me, but didn't really miss me. They just were amazing. So, of course, I've thanked them numerous times. Mike and the team have been amazing. Courtney, the president. But the biggest thing here, in my 2 months away, was my wife did not get tired of having me around. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. In fact, she did give a report card. She filled out a report card and gave it to my board and the staff on how I did it. She gave me 4.0. But there was a big thing. After being married 46 years, we didn't get tired of each other. She didn't get tired of me being in her domain, you know. Candidly, men, you understand this. You just stay out of the way. You just mind your own business. But it was wonderful. And to me, that was awesome. I was telling somebody earlier today, for me to rest, I have to have geographical distance, is what I call it. I just can't rest here in Modesto or, in my home. So we would be at home for a little bit. And then I got a chance to go to Gettysburg and do a leadership conference there with Gettysburg and got to see some, my wife says placards, but I got to go to historical places that I just had always wanted to see, never had the opportunity or the wherewithal to do that. And had a bunch of time with incredible people and friends and just a great time. So I want to thank you for all that. And I continue to sign up. I've already taken some of that and signed up for some trainings, a college course as we look to the future about who we want to be and what we want to do, not just me individually, but as an organization. But I want you to know I came away replenished. And when I went away, there were 2 questions that I wanted to respond to. 2 questions. And even though I'm going to share those things about me, I want you to know, I hope that you will always know to reflect those upon yourself. When I got back on Tuesday with our staff meeting, I put on our whiteboard, an organization takes on the characteristic of its leader. Good, bad, and ugly. Whether you like it or not, I can be a wonderful leader and I can be human. And so there were some questions that I wanted to respond to because whether I like it or not, the men and women who work around me that I'm responsible for are going to function in a lot of ways like I do. Because it's important that we are led by vision and values. And then as influencers, as leaders, we actually live those things out and model for them how to be this, whatever we say we are. And so when I got away for 2 months, there were a couple of questions. The first question that maybe it'll be helpful for you is, how can my time away benefit me, my family, our work, and our community? I didn't want to just go away and play, whatever. I was going to say diddly squat. Is that a good thing? I forget if that's a bad thing or not. But anyway, it's a generational thing. Tiddlywinks, that's a better one. And so I wanted to find out, if I'm going to get away, how is this going to benefit me, of course, my family, my granddaughters, and they're beautiful, by the way. I won't show you a picture of them. But our organization and our community. This is where I've had people around me over the last couple of months, well, where do you want to go? And I want to die here. I want to give my life here, invest here. This is where I am. This is the Central Valley. But this is home. And I want to make this the best place in the world today and going forward. So how can my time away benefit all those people? And then the other one that was really important to me was not that I just got rest for those 60 days, but how do I live in perpetual peace and rest? In this crazy, ever-changing world, and yes, the Dodgers did win the World Championships, and I'm really excited about that. But there have been other things that happened in the last couple of months that just has broken my heart. And so how do you live within this crazy, ever-changing world? And I want you to know, none of this, you all know that I'm a man of faith, none of this takes my God by surprise. So how do I respond to whatever's happening around me? How do I make the best of this or build on this or help people navigate, not just my generation, but the generation coming before me, after me, because you all know that the generation that we're leading now and they're apart now are different than how I see the world. They see the world with a different lens. And so I want to be able to be fresh, be able to know how to learn, be able to see what they see and understand. Ariel Sharon, who was once prime minister of Israel, was always fighting, when he was a general, was always fighting with the Israeli prime minister because he was a military leader. So, let's blow this up and let's blow that up. And the prime minister would hold him back. And then Ariel Sharon became the prime minister of Israel. And so now Ariel Sharon has generals coming to him and saying, let's do this and let's do that. And Ariel Sharon says this to this, and he came to this realization that the view from here is not the same as the view from there. And so to begin to see not just how others see the world, but how do we create space, safe containers, so we could have conversations with people that don't see the world our way. And I can tell you, I grew up in a generation where I was told you don't talk to anybody and interact with anybody who sees the world differently than you because they're going to poison you, or whatever we would hear. But this is a generation that we're all going to hear everybody, and we're going to come to some conclusions together. The challenge when we started Catalyst was so few people knew how to have conversations of trust building, and we might be there now. And so going forward, how do I live in this rest in this ever-changing world? Because I'm tired, and so are you. And I don't want to be tired all the time. And I think I can do this. I think we could do this, to live in a sense of perpetual rest and refreshment. And maybe quiet the voices in our heads. And I know I have a lot of voices in my head. We're just about to launch our 6th Latino Leadership Initiative, and we have over, I think it's about 80 graduates around the community already. Got Ziri over here and Adriana over here and others in the room maybe that are now engaging and beginning to take their place in the fabric of leadership in our community. And I have the privilege of interviewing each one who gets into the initiative because we assign them a mentor. So I was talking to this young man a couple of weeks ago, and the kid's sharp, 32 years old. 32 years old, sharp, he's sharp. I'll say that again. And I said to him, I said, listen, you're sharp, dude, but I want you to know this next 8 months is not about, 8 months is going to be about you taking once a month on a Saturday to stop, reflect on the quality of your life and the direction of your life. Because he's already got a lot of things going for him. But to be intentional, and I want to encourage you to be intentional to stop and consider the direction of your life and the quality of your life. And at 32 years old, he was very teachable, and he's going to be teachable with me because I was going to let him know if he wasn't teachable to me, but that's a whole nother story. But the thought came to my mind, now he's a great kid. The thought came to my mind, I'm telling this young man to consider the direction of his life and the quality of his life. But at the season of my life, and I'm in the winter of my life, the thought came to me, how have I measured my life? How have I measured my life? In the midst of my life is so, like you are so busy, and you're running around and you're doing all this and you're doing that and you're doing wonderful things. How are you measuring? How are you measuring? Author Mary Oliver made this statement, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? I always think of Steve Martin, Wild and Crazy, you know. But the wild and precious life, what do you want to do with this one wild and precious life? What is it you want to do? And I read, she wrote that quote in a book, and so I was just been considering thinking about it. What do I want to do now? I've lived all these years of my life, and I think I've done well, right? You can look yourself in the mirror and know, oh my gosh, I wish I would have done this or that or done something different. But what I want to do with what has been created in me and what I've created. I appreciate, this is not about you, Doug, but I appreciate using the R word, retirement, but that ain't for me. I ain't going to do that. And I'm going to say ain't because I can get ghetto right now. That's a way, for me, I'm going to go down swinging. I just, that's how I want to do it. And my wife has agreed because I would drive her crazy. So what indicators will I establish to measure my life? And in this next season of my life and the next season of the work that we have, what indicators am I going to use? Now, I've got a lot of reflections moving into the future, and I want you to know I have few answers, and I have them on purpose. I'm not going to give you a lot of answers today. I'm going to give you reflections. I'm going to give you questions. And I'm hoping there might be one or two of you in here that says, I need to stop and take a breath and to consider the quality in life and the direction of my life. What am I really doing to create what I have left? And you can be 25, you could be 32 years old like this amazing young man, or in the season of my life, and continue to ask the questions. Because I do want you to know every season of your life has an investment, has an investment, and you are desperately needed. And whatever the lies in your head that tell you that nobody wants you, nobody cares about you, nobody's interested in what you're saying, they're lies. You, as I was telling somebody a couple of days ago, get off your tail and you go figure it out. I might not have used the word tail. I might have used a different word. It was in love. So these reflections are for me, but they're also for you and for our community. You know, I think of questions like this, and again, you know I'm a man of faith. What's the Lord's plan, will for my life? And why did God put me on this earth? Now, you would think at 68 years old, I would have that figured out already. But it was always good to stop to consider, why am I here? Why am I still here? What am I now prepared to build with the life that I've created? With the time I have left, what best investment am I prepared to make? You see, your life has not been a waste. Whatever it is, whether it's 20 years old, 30 years old, 60 years old, your life is not a waste. Your life has been prepared over and over again. I was with somebody the other day, and all the experiences they have, and work relationships, and all this. So what is being created in your life? What do you want to do next? Or build on what has happened? And it could be tragedy. It could be heartache. It could be something wonderful. But what are you doing? With the time you have left, what best investment are you prepared to make? One of my board members, Manny Escamilla, handed me a book, 40-page little monogram, a little book that was called How Will You Measure Your Life by one of his Harvard teachers. And Harvard, the writer asks, will you measure yourself by prominence or by the people you have helped to be better people? Now, I'm going to be very candid with you, and please don't hold this against me. I don't even know if it's going to be true for the long haul. But I've spent so much energy on systems changes and concern about systems, and I should, and we should. But I wonder if I've done that at the expense of individual people. Now, please don't hear me that systems are not important. Please don't do that. But where have I really found my measure in my life? In prominence, where people cheer my name and go, yay! Or is it the individual lives? Like Doug's knucklehead son. And he was a knucklehead. He's a joy now, but there was a moment too, right? But how have we helped people be better? And who do I want to be? How do I invest my life? How do I stay hungry for the right things? I don't know about you, but I have enough old people around me where it's like, what are you doing? What are you hungry for? And I don't care if you're old or young. What are you hungry for? Are you hungry for the right things? Are you hungry to make a difference while you're here on the planet? And I don't care how old I am or how young I am. I still want to go after it. And I think you need to as well. I don't want to tell you what to do. But with all your wisdom and experience and knowledge and insight, let's share it with each other. Let's share it with each other. And a big question, and you have it in front of you, and this was a strange one for me. What kind of old man do I want to be? What kind of old man do I want to be? For the women in the room, what kind of old woman do you want to be? Some deeper personal questions for this season of my life. And so this all happened during sabbatical, so I have a lot of questions, right? And definitely there'll be some responses later on, some real life actions, but at this point I'm just going to give you the questions. Those of us who've been prominent, those of us who've been on the platforms, those of us who've had people around me, I have a question for myself and maybe for you. Will I be enough once I am stripped of all my titles and roles? Will I be enough? Will I be enough? Will I be okay to stand on the sidelines and continue to cheer on new leaders? What old tools must I release because they hinder my development? And just like you, as I had my time away, I reflected on I've got old tools that just have hindered me. In Latino Leadership Initiative, I talk about the boards. I used to have a contractor friend. He says, Marvin, and he was an older guy, Marvin, you know why people, they get hurt in the work site? Well, why is that? Because they don't pick up their boards. And he was reflecting on the boards of my life. I keep tripping over boards, the same junk, over and over again. and I got to figure out how to release them. Abandon the lie that my significance comes from my accomplishments. Have you been there? I can't answer for all of you. You've heard me speak before that one of my core sins or my core struggles has been my not enoughness, that I've never been enough. And so society, I drove myself to be quote unquote successful. And so yeah, I get cheered, but I'm just as sick as somebody down the street that didn't do anything because they never were enough. So they said, okay, I'm not enough, then I'm not going to be enough. And so what are some old tools that I need to abandon? And I want to encourage you to have the courage to reflect with yourself or some loved ones. You might need counseling like I do. To what are the old tools that you need to get rid of? What new set of tools will I need to thrive in this new season? What new set of tools will I need? How do I hang on to routines and rhythms that encourage the fruit of the Spirit in and through me? You see, it's really easy for me to be gone 2 months and then turn around and, okay, I'm just going to go back to the old junk. I don't want to do that anymore. Now, those of you who are close to me, you know it's going to be a struggle. But I want to be able to walk in any space and know that when Marvin's here, there's love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and gentleness, and that he lives in self-control. Because I want to be an essence of those qualities. And how do I do that in this crazy world, in this space like you, where I have responsibilities and my brain is always working and I got ideas and drive my team crazy? What new tools? What new tools? Because I do want to live in peace in the midst of just the restlessness that has been a part of my life. You know, I'm giving you another tool. I think I do pretty well, but I'm going to give you something that I continue to want to keep better doing, is to be a beginner's learner. Staying humble, to admitting that I don't know everything, that just because I have a perspective isn't just the only perspective, but to stay curious with people, to regularly be asking, help me understand. Let me tell you what I just heard you say. Let's talk about that. What do you mean? And to create the curiosity and a humility. Keep asking questions and living in wonder. Living in wonder. My wife said I laughed a lot more than I ever have. And so I want to leave space for serendipity. If you were to even look at my calendar the last couple of days, I didn't leave space and margin to laugh or to have serendipity. And I do it all. I've done it for the last 50 years. So it's going to take me a while to unlearn some things. I look forward, and when I almost skipped this, but I'm going to say this anyway. Be intentional to get away from the noise. To get away from the noise. To leave room in my mind to dream about the future. To clear my head. I won't tell you all of the dreams because it's been fun, but because my wife pulls out her computer and wants to, okay, this is what this is about. But I had 4 dreams over the last month, and it's all been about driving a bus. Now, if you worked here like I did, I had to learn how to drive a bus, all right? And the craziness of kids in the bus, but there were some things there were some common threads. And every time I drove this bus in this dream, and there were different scenarios, guess what? There was always a critic on the bus. I never was doing it like they wanted me to do it. And with my insecurities, my own curiosities, those voices, that noise, I want to figure out how to get rid of that noise. I want to figure out how to get rid of those and rest in that. And even around me, when I'll make a decision, then in my mind it'll say, the voice will come to my head, yeah, but what if they don't like it? Or what if she doesn't? What if she's not happy with it? And I have to always clear my brain of that kind of noise. I'd like to figure out how to do that. And please, nobody come up to me and counsel me about how to do that. I'll let you know how it goes. Because with my curiosity and my wonder and wanting to ask questions and getting wisdom from people, at times I wasn't strong enough to accept it, especially from certain types of people that love to tell you what they think, and they're wonderful people, but the way they tell you, they make it tell you like if you don't do it their way, then you're stupid. And with my not enoughness buttons, good Lord, I've spent 60 years with that. I really don't want to do that anymore. Now, I can't answer for you. Again, these are just questions as, yay, send Marvin away 2 more months and I'll mess you up some more. But I'd like to get away from the noise. I do look forward, personally, as well as our organization, City Ministry Network, to continue to expand our coaching, our teaching, our facilitating, our releasing, empowering, drawing out of people their gifts and abilities, revitalizing struggling or dead organizations, equipping others to navigate and build their world, to create safe containers where diverse people feel heard and feel loved. That's all in the future. For me, and with candor, I think for City Ministry Network, I've not talked to the board. That's why they get paid all that money. But to begin to see, how can we expand that which has already been happening around us? Let's change the world. I've been a pioneer, talking about being afraid. I think I've been a pioneer, or my wife calls me a scout. Sometimes scouts get out there and they make mistakes. And it's so many times in my life, again, a new tool. I'd like not to be so much afraid as I have been. What if I crash the bus? What if I make a mistake? Because, you can't make mistakes, right? Even though I'll tell you privately, man, make mistakes. You learn great from mistakes. But it can be a pretty ruthless world as a leader like you and I are when you make a quote-unquote mistake, or you make a strategic blunder, or you spend so much energy and time focusing on something you think you're supposed to do, and you go, and then you reflect back and say, maybe that was a waste of time. And then you're back to the drawing board. And then you go into a funk like I know I have and I do. But I ask myself this question, what have I been afraid of? What have I been afraid of? Who am I afraid of? I want to ask you that too. Because there's some of you in this room, I'm sorry, I don't want to point at you, any of you, but there's some of us in this room, you're afraid. You're afraid. It holds you back. I can feel it in my chest when I'm afraid. What if? And I want to encourage you with great encouragement. Love with abandon. Be curious. Surround yourself with people that are going to help you not be afraid. I don't always know how to tell you how to do that. But I want to figure it out. And I hope I can be one of those people for you. Where you can come and be afraid with me. When you can come and not be sure. And you're all amazing people. I know most of you. But it can be scary. And those are what I was afraid of. I've been slow to pioneer, and because I looked for the approval of people that I respected and thought they knew better, and then they thought they knew better than me. And maybe they did. But that's not how I walked away feeling when I got perspective from them. I want to live in courage. And again, don't always know how to do that. 365 times in the Bible, the phrase, have courage, do not be afraid, do not fear, do not be afraid, shows up in the Bible. Notice, 365 times. You get anything here? One for every day. And I surely need it, and I've needed to hear it. And for me to get away from all the noise and clutter and to begin to see, okay, this is what's been happening, good, bad, whatever it is, and moving into the future. And I want to thank the Porges family and the foundation for giving me this privilege to be a part of all this, because I don't want to just invest for myself and benefit from myself. This is all about you as well and our community and the men and women that I'm connecting with and we're connecting with. There are two statements as I wrap up here, two statements that I want to have characterize me as I go forward. Two statements. Number one, do I have the guts to try? And number two, when I had the chance, will I take it? Do I have the guts to try? And when I had the chance, did I take it? And there are two episodes that impacted my life. Guts to Try was, today our nation is remembering Jimmy Carter during the Iran hostage crisis, where Colonel Charlie Beckwith wrote the early narrative about the whole experience. They failed. But guess what? The title of his book was The Guts to Try. And you might have something facing you that you think you can't do it, that's impossible, that all the critics are telling you no, but in your gut you want to try. I want to encourage you, have the guts to try. I don't know what that is for you, but I'd like not to have many of those anymore in my life. The guts to try. The guts to try. The second one was another book I read. Whether you know him or not, William Bennett was one of the Department of Education chiefs when Ronald Reagan was president. And in the midst of that Washington, D.C. culture and all that goes with all that stuff that's there, one thing he said in one of his books, at the end he says, at least when I had the chance, I took it. And he talked about not doing the political dance. He could live with himself, and whether you liked his policies or not. The point is that when he had the chance, he took it. And I want to encourage you. No, I'm going to tell you. There's some of you, all of you in this room. When you have the chance, you take it. Okay, you screw up. Okay, but you can look yourself in the mirror and know when you had the chance, you took it. You didn't chicken out. And with candor, and for as much sometimes you think that I've been amazing, too many times I chickened out. I didn't follow my Lord's direction because I was afraid. The guts to try. And when I had the chance, I took it. And I want to ask you, what is fear stolen from you? What is fear stolen from you? And as I reflected back on my 2 months away, fear had stolen from me. And I let it. I like not to do that anymore. What is fear stolen from me? Will I be confronting the old fears that I keep tripping over? To look myself in the mirror and know that when I had the chance, I took it. Excuse me. That I had the chance, I took it. I ask this for all of us. What does courageous community leadership look like in this generation? What's courageous community leadership look like in this generation? And I want to warn you, it might be counterintuitive. Talking with our team the other day, I said, you be careful because that courageous leadership in this generation might look counterintuitive. I have a hard time in some of my circles where I talk about humility. Because in this generation, humility is about, and even in the Latino community, humility is about being stepped on, and it's just subjective, it's just not good word. But for me, it's about strength, learning how to continue to be curious, and wanting to learn, wanting to listen, wanting to be more than what I am. And men and women, this is just off the side. Our world, our country can be way better than what it is. What does courageous community leadership look like in this generation? The guts to try, whatever the dream that is placed in you. And I pray that it would be said of us in this generation, in this local community, that when we had the chance together, we took it to make this place better. Not just to silence the critics, to get them off our back, because in a lot of places, squeaky wheel gets the grease, but to actually together make this a better place for everybody. All of you in this room are amazing people. You are. Or else you wouldn't be getting up like 5:15 or 5:30 to come in the morning. No matter what, you had to get a chance to try. And my last question, Mary Oliver's words, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? What do you plan to do? The spring of your life or the winter of your life? Leah, you want to come up and give them instructions on second? Thank you for the time. Yes. Are they up there? Okay. Doug is?
Wow, that was really good. I hate to say that because I don't say too many good things about Marvin. Marvin, I'm glad you got away, and I'm glad for Cheryl. But I want you to also know that it was good for you to be away because we also got an opportunity to be away from Marvin. Also on your report card, tell Cheryl I'd like to talk about John, Taurus, and Joe. I got some information I think that would be helpful. You know, what Marvin was talking about is something that's really critical in all of our lives, that every one of us has been designed specifically by God, and every single one of us has somebody else that we can connect with and be an influencer. Nobody else potentially will ever have that opportunity, but we will. And so take that opportunity, because I know Marvin had the guts to do that with me about 40 years ago with my son. Honestly, I don't know where I would be. And it's just not him, it's my faith, obviously, but it gave me the opportunity to stand up and have the guts to be a good dad and try to raise this crazy kid that didn't seem like he wanted to be anywhere but in prison. And today, if he was here today, he would say he loves me and he'd hug me. That's how you got guts to do it. You have to take the moment, you have to do it, and you can't let it get away. So we'd like to move to the second real quick exercise at your table. And you had an opportunity to talk to people with the candy thing. Talk amongst yourself a couple minutes about what you learned and how you are able to influence the other person's opportunities and during this time. Let's just take a real quick minute and have that exercise.
Good morning. I'm Mike Gunnarsson with City Ministry Network, and I'm going to interrupt your discussion there. And honestly, you'll be able to carry on this discussion after we're done. You can hang out and chat, but we do need to bring it to a close. But before we go, I have a couple of things I want to share. And one is I want to invite you back next month. So next month, it won't be the second Thursday. It will go back to the first Thursday of the month. But we're going to come together. And I was reading an article out of Forbes magazine from several months back. And I just wanted to read you a little bit of what the author said. He said, "I can assure you that it is quite common for leaders to feel isolated and lonely, particularly when they face complex personal or professional issues. This is a topic that is often overlooked, but it can have serious implications on their lives and also on their leadership performance and consequently the overall success of their organization." So next month, we're going to share the experience of a group of leaders, unique leaders who found relationship in a very unexpected way. They came together to address an issue in our community, and out of that, it became a safe place, a circle of trust, a relational safe space. And so what I want you to do is put on your calendar for next month. We're going to come together and we're going to hear part of their story, but not just the story, also the reflections they have on this journey that they've had together, going from not really being in agreement, seeing life in the same way, to now being trusted friends. So I want to encourage you to come back and see that next month. Second thing I want to inform you about is we are having a crab feed. We do an annual crab feed every year, and this year it will be on March 22nd. The information is up there. And what I want you to be thinking about, if you own a business or you want to sponsor, I would love to chat with you. We're looking for sponsors to help with the crab feed. But if you're saying, I just love crab or I just want to be there, it's a great night. I tell you what, it's a great night. Tickets will be on sale starting next week. You can go to our website. There's a drop-down menu that says events. And under that, we will have a link to our Eventbrite page, and you can start buying tickets there. So please be aware, be planning, looking forward to it. It's going to be a great event. It'll be a fun night. And it will help support our organization and the work that we're doing. So as we follow our incredible leader. So thank you, Marvin, for sharing today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was not just enjoyable, but it caused you to kind of reflect a little bit. And I encourage you to take that moment and reflect and ask some of those questions for yourself. Let me pray, and then we'll be done. Father, I thank you for today. I thank you for the ability to reflect on our direction, our impact, what you've called us to do. And so I pray that out of today, there would really be some soul searching, some questioning, some just reassuring even where we're at and what we're involved in. And I pray that you would just continue to guide us as we all work together to make this an incredible community for everyone who lives here. We pray it all in Jesus' name. Amen. Have a great morning. Thank you for coming. We'll see you later.